Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into a truly profound philosophical text. It's one of those rare works that tries to build a bridge between East and West, and honestly, more importantly, between reason and revelation. We're going to unpack all of this neutrally, step by step. So let's get right into it.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll kick things off with a reason-revelation illusion. Then we'll move into uniting East and West, rethink the Quranic miracle, elevate from senses to intuition, and finally wrap up with human stewardship and civilization. All right, part 1. The reason-revelation illusion.
So, are reason and revelation truly in conflict? I mean, for the longest time, we've been told they are absolute opposites, right? Like it's a strict binary choice you have to make. But our source text boldly challenges this whole idea, basically saying that this age-old conflict is just a massive methodological illusion.
Think about it. We usually pit the rational directly against the transmitted or the revealed, but the author argues that putting these two in a boxing ring together is a fundamental error. Why? Well, because rationality simply doesn't exist in a total vacuum. It actually requires foundational beliefs and transmissions of knowledge just to kickstart the process of reasoning.
The core argument really boils down to these 5 postulates. Reason doesn't just magically build itself out of thin air. It relies on submitting to active and passive rationality, trusting that objects are intelligible, trusting our own human capacity to actually understand things, and ultimately, it requires an acceptance of these facts without hard material proof. The text is essentially showing us that a complete functioning mind always begins with a necessary leap of faith.
Moving right along to Section 2, Uniting East and West.
Now this is where things get incredibly fascinating. The text compares the Arab critical school, so we're talking about heavyweights like Al-Ghazali, Ibn Taymiyyah, and Ibn Khaldun, with the Germanic critical school of Descartes and Kant. And despite coming from totally different geographical and cultural worlds, they landed on a shockingly similar conclusion. Al-Ghazali talks about a stage completely beyond reason, while Descartes relies heavily on a divine guarantee. Kant limits metaphysics specifically to leave room for faith, which perfectly mirrors Ibn Taymiyyah's argument that proof is literally impossible without circularity unless we submit to faith. They're all basically agreeing that human reason has hard limits, and it requires faith to establish any real, true understanding.
Let me just read this quote to you. The harmony between the Arab and Germanic critical schools reveals a universal quest for the limits of human reason. I think that beautifully captures the author's main point here. The search for ultimate truth isn't locked away in just one single civilization. It's a deeply universal human endeavor that breaks right through cultural boundaries.
Okay, Section 3. The true Quranic miracle.
The author uses this absolutely brilliant metaphor here. They say the Quran is like an index finger pointing outward at the universe. And the intellectual decline, that happens the exact moment we stop looking at the vast, incredible universe being pointed at and instead just obsessively stare at the finger itself. This is a massive paradigm shift in how the text asks its audience to approach reading scripture.
And the text doesn't hold back, presenting a pretty firm critique of what it views as intellectual laziness. It's urging readers to stop endlessly digging for hidden scientific miracles strictly within the written text. Instead, it challenges humanity to step outside and actually study the physical world. Go study physics, chemistry, medicine, psychology. That active study of the actual universe, according to the author, is where the real miracles are waiting to be found.
Next up, Section 4, Senses to Intuition.
Now, obviously, we all rely on our 5 physical senses to observe the material universe around us. But to truly understand the world, the text introduces a much deeper concept, the 5 intuitions. This is all about elevating our perception up to a historical, cosmic, and spiritual consciousness. It's pitched as a completely necessary migration from just gathering basic sensory data to achieving a much more profound, overarching awareness.
And right at the peak of this elevated awareness is something the author defines as absolute poetry. Now hold on, this isn't about rhyming couplets or traditional stanzas. It's defined as the absolute peak of sincere human consciousness and our ultimate connection to existence. And crucially, the text explicitly notes this state has to be completely free from any corruption or flattery toward the ruling elite. We're talking about pure, unadulterated human feeling.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Human Stewardship and Civilization.
So how do all these deep internal thoughts actually shape the real world? Well, the text introduces tasakhur, or mutual service. Think of it like a perfectly balanced ecosystem of fair exchange. It is a system where every single individual serves the community, and in return, the community serves them right back. According to the author, this dynamic isn't just a nice idea,
It's the absolute bedrock of any sustainable society.
And that mutual service naturally paves the way for istaklaf, or stewardship. This is not just a basic theological concept here. It is framed as humanity's ultimate cosmic role. It's our shared, heavy responsibility to populate, govern, and deeply care for the earth equitably. Mutual service is the very thing that makes this grand vision of stewardship even possible.
Zooming all the way out to the geopolitical level, the text analyzes the world through four major current poles: the US, Russia, China, and India. But then, the author neutrally proposes the conceptual emergence of a fifth pole, a universal or Islamic pole. Now, its theoretical purpose isn't about global domination or a massive power grab. Rather, it's designed to break the material friction between those other four poles by offering a totally different model, one united by those core principles of mutual service and moral stewardship we just talked about.
So, this all leaves us with one incredibly profound question. Can humanity truly evolve past its deeply ingrained historical divisions to build a universal state, one genuinely united by mutual service and global stewardship? This text offers a seriously fascinating roadmap from reason all the way to revelation. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time as we unpack another incredible source.